Okay, Roger Rave. I said I wanted to come on this morning, and we'll call this one morning coffee. Roger Rave morning coffee. How do I look in the morning?
They got a little bit more knowledgeable. And they also revealed more today about how they were thinking. Because they hear us just talking.
Yeah. Just kind of hope I don't look too bad in the morning. That's what I was thinking. I just run and brush over my hair real quick. Can't do too much about my hair rather than just throw something over it. And comb that one and make that one. So anyways, yeah, it was like coffee with, I wish I could have the camera on when I switched the camera around from front to back. Because, when I first turned it on, it was the coffee there. That would have been a good opening. Put a credit on there. Coffee with Roger Rave. Dave. So yeah, what I want to talk about, I finally got that stuff out of my ear. The doctors, when I had my sinus surgery, the doctors, and my tantric meditation program just came on. Okay. Nice, okay. So anyways, he had a device. Something tells me that even back then in 1973 when I was in the 8th grade, he probably wasn't supposed to use that either. But he had it and he used it. It was kind of a suction. And it was long and kind of curved. And he was clearing sinus infections from when I got my bone broken away from the cartilage. It came off really very easily. It was just one of those fight things that we were having at school, and my buddy, we were just messing around. I split his lip open, so we were just messing around, and he accidentally broke my nose. And he barely even hit the tip of my nose, too. It's not like he really barreled into it or anything like that. He really did accidentally break my nose. But I did accidentally split his lip open, and it was split open pretty good. They were the ones that wanted to go horsing around and stuff. So anyways, I got this stuff in my ear when I was still in Missouri in 2011, and damn it, it was right after I got my surgery, too. When did I have my surgery? Well, I left 2012, so I got this stuff in my ear, and I got the ear infection. I went to the doctor and got it cleared up. Yeah, it had to have been right after I got my, let's see, no. Oh no, it was before. It was before I got my ear infection. Yeah, because I was in my room. There was an issue of bed bugs in my room for 7 months. My Rush would call up and I'm going, oh yeah, I'm doing just fine. Oh yeah, I have bed bugs in my room for a long time. Wall-to-wall bites. He's going, hey, how you doing? I'm doing great, Maharaj. I'm all cheerful and cheery. The thing was that I was concerned that I just stayed in my room. The thing was it was thousands. Now, every time I turned on the light at nighttime and tried to squish them in blood all over the floor and the walls, and as many as that kept running underneath the cracks, it just wasn't the few. And he said, well, why don't you just throw away your bedding? I wish I could, but I don't think that's where they are, where the highest concentration of them are. And that wouldn't help one bit, because there's literally an infestation. It just wasn't a few. It was literally hundreds. I wanted the exterminators to come out, and I guess I didn't agree with a few other things. I was trying to figure out what they wanted to do. It sounded like the temple president actually really just wanted to move me out. And he was making, certain comments, and I thought it was a compliment where he'd say something like, Rochan didn't give class tonight, future Ishkan Sannyasi. And I was thinking, oh, that's great. And I even asked Maharaj, I said, am I being considered for sannyas? And he was saying, no, it's better for you. There are a lot of brahmacharis like Dravida with the BBT, Yamaraj, who does the graphics, he's with the BBT. He cited examples of many great brahmacharis within ISKCON. And he said, in order for you to do your service nicely, you should remain brahmachari. Well, brahmachari, grihasta, it's, what it is that sannyasis, they are not allowed to stay in one place. They have to continue to travel. That's like the definition of the term and the real meaning of Babaji. Babaji can never stay in one place. But I think that's really more of his own choice, or Babaji, and then he just sets up camp somewhere, he just does his own thing, and then he'll just take off, he'll just leave, he'll just go, you know what I mean? Kind of, I guess nowadays, it wasn't by my design, but where I ever did go, I ended up working for some pretty good companies. But, I really don't understand how somebody can say that, if they're talking about me and my character, they come up with this term drifter. What are you, a drifter or something? You're in Colorado, you're in Palm Springs, you're in Los Angeles. I see you work for these temporary assignments. Did you realize that this is a direct hire? I see that you have been with these organizations for more than 2 years. You have a great history of call center that goes back over 20 years. But we can't trust you. You haven't convinced me. In fact, I have a start date, and it's going to be in December. There's a couple things I want to talk about. It's going to be federal, and I've been filling out all kinds of background information and all kinds of stuff on this one. So it looks like I impressed somebody and convinced somebody on this one. And thank God, because retirement comes up in 4 more years. I'm 59, right at the end of the baby boomers.
Sometimes I find
and that's a big concern. But the thing is, I don't know what the thing was, Federal Reserve and Social Security, because you're talking about people who are working now today, who are paying into Social Security. It's taken right out of your paychecks to pay out to the recipients of Social Security today. Oh, I don't understand where they're talking about a bank that stores up money for Social Security and they can take loans out on it. They've got to be taking loans out on money that was supposed to be dispersed today, that they collected today. That's the way that works. Is that when they started Social Security, it was an emergency. There wasn't any time to save anything up and then start giving it out to people. It's not that the money was taken out of their checks when they worked in 1950s and 1960s, and now they're collecting retirement now, 1970s, that their specific money taken out of their specific check was put in a specific account somewhere. It's not the way it works. Their money was paid out directly to those who were collecting Social Security at that time. So anyways, you have to study a little history, some politics, some economics. And, when these guys are talking, they're talking out their damn ass. And we're supposed to be gullible enough to believe it. Yeah, of course there's a deficit. We're in somebody's pocket. Somebody's a really pretty good magician here. Now you see it, now you don't. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm going to make the Federal Reserves disappear. Watch this. The Empire State Building, that was great. Nothing better happened to my Empire State Building, and it better be standing there when you're done. I wonder where it can go. Imagine if it didn't come back. Yeah, I really like that stuff. They had a whole bunch of those videos. I really liked that show when it was on TV. And these are the big illusions. These are the big magic tricks. These are the good ones. This just was the little sleight of hand stuff, you find on YouTube, or some magic tricks, there's something that you buy the magic kit, at the toy store. This is the big stuff where it makes elephants disappear, and they show you how he uses the mirrors. The big magic boxes, levitating the ladies, put the ladies in the boxes and slide all those things in there, and open it up, and there she is. There's her head. She's talking, she's alive, but there's all those things in there. I like that illusion where they made the coat of armor come alive all of a sudden. That was spooky. How they do the switch up where there's actually, I guess I'm not the magician who can go ahead and reveal the secrets. They were doing it as if he was doing something he's not supposed to be doing. They were doing it that he would end up in pretty big trouble if they ever found out who he actually was. But it was on TV for quite a while. They have all these shows and all these episodes, and he had some great stuff. And I always think about painting the boxes and making the designs and everything on the boxes, and making all. That's what I like about that movie Monkey Bones, the dream sequence and the Dream Devil guy had all that kind of stuff, all that 60s stuff. Those squares, the black and white squares, and they're on curves and tangents, and they're larger and smaller, they bend, there's totally psychedelic. I was watching the movie about the Doors, and they talked about how Jim Morrison was at the whiskey and he wanted to do the end, and he was doing his ad lib thing, and they got fired. They told him Sunday night was going to be there last night, but he really wanted to fire him on Thursday night. They're talking about the end, and he says, they're doing the end music, the end dance and stuff, it's very, Eastern type, what do you call it, sitar kind of stuff.
She sent you a gift. You want to see it? Well, it's something that she made for you. Should I bring it? Anyway, all the devotees all over the world are simply praying that they will be placed into great transcendental anxiety treatment. Simply praying for your recovery.
So anyhow, this was Coffee with Roger Rave, and so I'm waking up in the morning. I don't look too bad in the morning. Oh, I had some really nice stuff. Made some hot milk last night and put in a sleepy time tea bag. A can of condensed milk, sleepy time tea bag, a can of condensed milk, and the equal amounts of regular milk heated up, a little sprinkle of cardamom, about 4 drops of rose water, just a little sprinkle of turmeric, a little sprinkle of ginger, and then a little sprinkle of this Ayurvedic herbs and spices that I made. I put in the spice grinder and mix it with sugar and stuff so that it doesn't get acidic in your mouth. It's got a lot of hot stuff in it. It also has coriander and cumin and has the chilies and chili powder and anise and things and stuff in it. Very, very, very good for you. Very medicinal. It's practically the cure-all for everything, practically almost right away. And that's why I wanted to talk about what that stuff was in my ear. Finally got that stuff out. And the guy over there in Missouri, he was telling me that, he was swimming in a lake, and he kind of swam across some green stuff. He thought it was moss or whatever, but he ended up with something swimmers here. So that's what the doctor was telling me. The doctor was telling me I had swimmers here. There was a little plumbing leak. There was something on the floor. The plumber had to come out. I was very careful to step around it. I was kind of thinking maybe I got a splash from that kind of stuff or something, but I was hoping it wasn't an insect that buried inside my ear. It's been in there for quite a while. Finally got it out yesterday. Been working on that one. It's been very uncomfortable, especially at night when I try to sleep. I have some series of ear drops. The doctor gave me some antibiotic ear drops. I use the earplugs in the bath and shower, especially, I was always especially accustomed to run water through there, especially when I was using some medicinal. It was, the doctor gave me, the specialist gave me, I had an ear infection at one time. So we want to remove, the natural accumulations that are generally associated with the inner ear canal and the eardrum. So I was always accustomed to running water through there anyways, clean out your ears, and shower water. But, water and all that was not compatible with this. You wanted to keep them dry, you wanted to keep it out of the water. Whenever I did get water in or I got them wet, that's when it got worse. So I got some stuff for that ear dry. I think the ear dry is probably really what killed it, and the hydrogen peroxide, the drops, and there's a squeeze ball. You want to be careful with the squeeze ball. I picked up squeeze balls before, and I would never actually really used it. I was talked out of it. Other individuals didn't want to help me with it. They felt that it could be injurious, so you have to be very careful. And this is just a small one. I think this one is a small one for babies. The ones that I got before, they were really big and bulky and thick rubber, and they're probably for adults, probably for really, really old people or something. So everybody was afraid. They talked me out of it. I got afraid, never used it. I bought it, but I never used it. Prabhupada used to say, who spends $1 on anything they're not going to use? And we're talking about millions of dollars a minute being sunk into nuclear research and technology and manufacturing and disarmament. Armament, I don't know, is anybody going to make up their mind? We were talking about millions of dollars a second. And he goes, nobody spends $1 on anything they're not going to use. But anyways, it was the bulb. The bulb kind of pulled this stuff out. It was some stuff I hadn't seen before. It wasn't stuff I was putting in there. Usually when I use the bulb, any of the drops of hydrogen peroxide or any stuff that I put in there, whatever I pull out, is exactly what I put in. But not this time. It kind of, well, at least it kind of got it out, It kind of looked like something that would probably come out of the river if you swam through some moss. But I wasn't in any river and I wasn't swimming through any moss. So that's what kind of puts up the red flag on a few things. I just hope that nobody's signed any power of attorney papers. When we're talking about someone who's actually the author of the antidote, the poison antidote. I really like that book, The Poison Antidote. So if you think there's any foul play, that's actually Vaishnava Aparat or Guru Aparat. They used to tell me things about sometimes the lamas get away. And that I've been pretty good about dodging the bullets. So this must be his figure of speech, and what it is that the lamas, when the lamas expire, they leave their bodies. According to astrological calculation, the Buddhists will determine if where the specific lama had taken birth again. They'll go to the city and town and determine whether or not there was recently a birth there, and they'll approach the family and explain to the family that they believe, according to astrological calculations, that this is their lama, and that they would like to raise them in the Buddhist monastery. They'll receive a very good education. They'll have a very good lifestyle. They'll have status within society as a great Buddhist monk and teacher. So, usually in these cultures, the family agrees. But in my case, if I was such a lama in my last life, I kind of got away and took birth in a country and a culture according to a family that was completely inauspicious to, what is it? They would definitely not agree to any Buddhist monks from Tibet, the Himalayas, China, India, anywhere, China, Tokyo, Japan, Himalayas, Tibet, any monasteries, any American monasteries. I know for a fact that my family would not have given me to a bunch of Buddhists at the time of my birth or shortly after. I know that for a fact. They seemed to be gung-ho, but they were gung-ho about something else. I'm really very quite sure they were on the flip side. And I'm quite sure they were good at it too, and they were dangerous. I better go turn that down a little bit.
At least they will have some books in stock of every book you have published. So if somebody wants some book, they won't say that they don't have it, but they can supply it.
Okay, so yeah, so came across some information on this. I was kind of wondering. They were asking me about Christianity. They were asking me what I had to do with Buddhism. They told me that that I keep coming back according to my offenses, and one of the large offenses is that they believe that my family is still worshiping me. And I was kind of thinking that I'm trying to get back to the heavenly planets to be with my family, be with my wife, my beautiful wife in the heavenly planets. Actually, I believe I have 5, and I believe they're sitting right up here on a. It's a balcony. It's a balcony, and they're there. And I believe there's 5 of them. Demigoddesses. Anyways, my buddy's mom always used to tell me that she believes there's someone up there looking out for me. She always used to tell me about Mrs. Wright and the right one. She always used to tell me about these. You know, she'd read our cards and stuff. Mrs. Fortune. One of them is the goddess of fortune. Or it couldn't be Kuvera's wife, and it definitely couldn't be Lakshmi. But whatever it is, she brings good fortune. Doesn't that actually have to be silver or gold? I'm satisfied with my life. I'm not envious. I've never taken out anything else on anyone. I went to school to better myself, to learn things. And even then, I was in a relationship, and I had this relationship for over 10 years. And I was still studying, and they were even telling me that I can do even better than that. So I never took it out on anyone, but I did something about it. I went to school. I learned something. I went to art school, and in art school I learned computers, and I went to computer schools. Then I got to call, and I started in call centers. And even then in the call center, they say, no computer experience necessary. You know what I mean? They're going, you're great. You got the computer skills. This is fantastic. You know, we train you on the system. It was a text-based system. It was called the CATI, Computers for Marketing Research, CATI, CFMC, Computers for Marketing Research, CATI, CATI. It's industry specific. It's a text-based. They have been switching over to Windows. The text-based system is much more stable. It's an old system. Most people are navigating through Windows. The Windows system, it's internet and Java based. It crashes. It's unstable. You know, it has the radio buttons and and all the stuff that you'd see in a graphical Windows interface. On a website. It's kind of like a web-based thing.
VBT is. I'm always asking how he's free to make his payment.
And anyway, so anyways, that's what I came across some information here that the books of the apostles in the beginning of Christianity and Catholicism were anonymous. No one knew who they wrote them. They were passed along secretly. They were not well-known texts. And you know what's kind of interesting about the Bible is that, the writings of the apostles, how you kind of compare the notes, how they're explaining the same situation according to their perspective. So they're kind of preparing notes. Then what they're saying, then they started attaching names of the apostles to them. That science, and it's good science. Something works with it. Some of the mathematics works, not all of it. There's some things that they still don't understand, but at least they can get a jet around the world. At least they can put some satellites up, a space station. Apparently, they landed on something. We believe it was Rahu, the Rahu planet. It's a dark, inauspicious planet. It's associated with the moon. It's in the Surya Siddhanta. It's what causes the eclipses between the moon and the sun. But they have a theory that the eclipses are caused by the moon, the sun, and the projection of the earth, or the earth gets in the way, the moon gets in the way, the sun gets in the way. Specific alignments, things like that. So these things are manufactured knowledge. What they're showing you is a dead universe. They're telling you there's no life on it. If there is any life on it, we don't know what it is. There's ice caps on Mars. There must be some water and some canals. In order for life to exist, there must be certain properties, like this Earth planet has got, where it's got night and day, water and air, earth to mother and sow the seeds, colder during the winter time, warmer during the summertime. They would say that life on this planet would not be able to function if these specific seasons and these specific elements were not present. At one time the earth was not at a tilt, and then God tilted the earth. And the seasons were very important. If you're talking about a conducive weather system, not too hot, not too cold, always stays like that all the time. It's conducive to vegetarian and agrarian society. So we're talking about a whole bunch of stuff that's not true, that's not real. And what they're saying is that in the case of the Jesus Christ was known by different names according to the lands that he traveled, and according to the company that he associated with, he was known by many different names, especially his Buddhist name. So they're comparing the Buddhist monks, according to astrological calculation and the star, approached the family, Mother Mary and Joseph, explained the situation to them. They agreed. So they're talking about 3 wise men who followed a star and brought auspicious articles such as frankincense and things like that. Brought gifts. They brought gifts, all right. Gifts of the heart, gifts of love of God. They brought gifts, all right. So they're talking about, it compares this, killing all the babies. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Kamsa, he wanted to make sure that Krishna, who was prophesied that the 8th child of Devaki, who was Krishna, would kill Kamsa. He was the king. So he had all the babies killed. He was trying to make sure that baby Krishna didn't survive. So we're talking about the same thing in the Bible and biblical situation. I believe there's a few different occurrences. I know about different kings. I have to look it up. There was a King Solomon. I heard there was a king, and I think it was King Solomon. He was very wise. I think one of his wives rolled over on their newborn. So she switched the babies with one of her co-wives, and she woke up and she had the infant, and it was suffocated. But she knew that this was not her infant, and she knew that her infant was in the arms of one of the co-wives, so she deduced what had happened. And so she complained. And they were both saying, no, this is mine, no, this is mine. So King Solomon says, okay, hand me the baby. I will cut the baby in half and give you both a half. Very wise. One says, okay. The other says, no. So he was able to tell who was actually the real mother. So, Prabhupada was talking about how we can learn many different lessons from nature and life. And so we were talking about this when I was growing up. I was thinking about, like, I'd meet Mrs. Special Right, I'd get married, I'd have a job. Kind of had an idea of what I'd do. I didn't exactly know what, didn't exactly know where it's going to be. You don't really know the future, as in a solid form or solid manifestation. But, there's some specific characteristics. Everybody else gets married, they get married. Everybody else has a family, you have a family. Everybody has a place to live, you get a place to live. Everybody's got a job, you got a job. The car in the garage, the dog in the front yard, the gate. The kids riding their bicycles around the neighborhood, the pool in the backyard. Keep it up with Joneses, what is that status? Cultural status, what do they call that? Status quo, whatever. So I just kind of, and as things go on, and I pursue my interests, and I look into different things, and, life begins to unfold and manifest, and, I start doing certain things start happening. So anyways, that's what they were talking about here, is that they possibly may believe. I thought I was waiting for them to confirm it. Something tells me I'm the one who confirms it. I always kind of had the suspicion, but I think that what would actually really confirm anything is that whatever the function of this specific being or deity would need to be fulfilled. And then even then, who takes any credit for anything when there isn't anybody really left anyways? Only except those who believe. I like that model of our temple in Mayapur, the Mayapur Shandir. It's a big, giant spiritual Disneyland. These beautiful, big, giant building temples. Imagine the house, the mansion, where Christ was saying, I have built a mansion for the whole world to live in. Probably, used to say that same thing too, or it was said by his disciples in his books about Srila Prabhupada that he has built a house the whole world can live in. What his dream was that every house could be a temple room. You can have a temple room in your house. You can do your sadhana. You can follow the 4 regular principles with your family and be happy, satisfied. That was the thing about the control of the senses. The yogis try to control the senses by artificial means. The senses are actually really controlled by engaging in devotional service. That's actual positive engagements of the senses. And what happens is that all mitigation of miseries and distress, all your problems are mitigated by the process and the practice and performance of devotional service. Prabhupada was saying, just imagine if someone comes along and says, I'm going to take care of all your problems. That's actually really the situation. It's not exactly problems, it's responsibilities that we take and specific anxieties that kind of evolve. But certain things happen. But what he's saying is that material world is one problem, one issue, after another issue, after another. And what do we have? Here's another animal in the Srimad Bhagavatam that we can learn a lesson from. The spider makes the spider web. And the fly gets caught in the spider web. So as the fly tries to get out of the spider web, it becomes more and more entangled. The harder he tries, the more entangled he becomes in the spider web. And then the spider, cruel death, comes and takes him away. Eats him. And that was the other thing about the caterpillar. The caterpillar is changing from one leaf to the next leaf. It's a long body. He's got a lot of feet. Don't worry, he can hang on. He's designed in such a way that he can even walk upside down. He's upside down on leaves. If you ever see him crawling around your house, they're upside down up on the ceiling. The insects are really interesting in this way. Don't worry, he doesn't get hurt. He doesn't fall off. He's camouflaged in such a way that the birds mistake him to be something else, so they just don't see him. There's another thing. A green bird enters into a green tree. It doesn't mean that the bird has now become the tree. There's the tree and the bird. The bird's camouflaged. It just appears as if the bird and the tree are one. So that's what we're talking about. The jiva may appear to merge into the existence of the Supreme, but there's always an experiencer and a knowledge, and the object of perception. And the object of love. There's the love, the lover, and the object of love. So this is what we're talking about. When I was growing up, I was kind of thinking about what I was going to do when I growed up. Now that I'm grown up, and we're talking about being pretty much in my. This is the middle stages of your life when you're 50. If your lifespan is about 100 or so. So and everything's divided up into 25 years. Your first 25 years in the youth, where you're pretty much bewildered and you're being educated and you're growing up and you're a child and you're engaging in your childhood activities. You're pretty much bewildered. You really don't have that scope of actually really knowing who you actually really are. You're really pretty much enamored. You're bewildered. Really an illusion. That's why you need your parents to raise you properly, your school teachers to educate you properly. You're very, very susceptible to specific information. That's why it's very, very important to receive proper education, proper upbringing in that time. If you're only exposed to information that is not true and it's not real, and this is what you've assimilated, this is your conception of life, this affects your future lives, is that it's no information at all, it's not reality, it's not true. What is true and real, if you look up in the sky, there is a sun. The information about the sun that has been presented to you isn't exactly correct. And things like that. That's the way that we perceive things as. They're showing us a dead universe full of gases and rocks and sand and ice caps, hydrogen and oxygen, specific combination of elements, but they're saying that the elements are not present to sustain life as the living earth is. And what we believe is a multi-dimensional living universe. You know, and this is within my prayers every day in the Gayatri Mantra. The sun is a living person. He's riding a chariot. It has one wheel. It's the wheel of time. The spoke is attached to the center hub of the universe, which is the North Star, Swasthadweep, Dhruvaloka. That's where the actual moon planet actually is, and it's so large that it dwarfs the sun. That's why it appears to be within our orbit. There is something up there, but the actual real moon planet, as described in Vedanta, is something else. It's another planet. It's made of ivory and gold, and it's a heavenly planet. In fact, I had this dream, and I actually really believed that. I thought maybe this was my mother. And so I looked it up, and Arjun went to the heavenly planets, and he met the mother of the Pandavas, and she wanted to enjoy with him. And this was a whole plan of Indra's, that Arjun would become cursed, and it was part of his disguise, because he still had some more time to live incognito. And he was actually living within the kingdom of his cousins, who are the ones who wanted to kill him. But they knew it couldn't be Arjun, because Arjun is not a eunuch. Arjun's a strong man. But this person's a eunuch. He was cursed to be a eunuch. And he was teaching all the dancers the heavenly arts of dancing and heavenly arts of fighting with celestial weapons. And you know, they used to think, you know, I swear to God this was Arjun. And they go, no, this is not Arjun. This person's a eunuch. Arjun's a full-blown man who's capable. This is not Arjun. So that was the whole thing. So, you know, this it was in the heavenly planets. Everyone was wearing Greek type clothing, you know, in Greek robes and big giant high ceilings with these big giant Greek Roman curtains. And at first I didn't know who this person was. She was very thin waisted. But we walked up to each other, we hugged each other, and looked each other in the eyes. She thanked me very much. She was very, very happy. She was glowing. You know, she seemed familiar to me a little bit. She told me that she just got there and that she needed to check into her room. She told me to come to visit her and to go into where the women's quarters were, and they would help me. And there was like Roman guards there and stuff, big giant curtains. And she said it's either going to be to the right or to the left. She had a room number, and they were going to show her where to go. And then she went there, and I was so happy. And when I woke up, see, I was dreaming about this song, and I really like these drum beats. They're going, Ganapati Namaha, Jaya Ganapati Namaha. And Ganapati's Lord Ganesh. He removes all the obstacles. He lives in the heavenly planets. He's the son of Lord Shiva and Parvati. That's why he has an elephant head. Something happened. Lord Shiva chastised his son and beheaded him, and his wife didn't agree with that, so he got another head for his son. It was an elephant head. That's where that comes from. But he removes all the obstacles. But I was dreaming, and I was actually tapping my hands like I was playing the drums on my stomach in my sleep, and tapping my feet. And I dreamt there was the devotees. They're going, oh, it's okay. You know, it's the song of the demigods. They're going, it's okay. You know, I had this heavenly, godly dream. And then I was thinking, you know who that might have been? That I was having so much trouble with negative forces recently, and I was concerned about my mother, and she had passed away. And perhaps maybe her envious nature, her problems that she had in life, being a horrible, terrible person, things that she did against people, and then she says it's you that does all that stuff when it's her. You know, it's crazy. It was crazy. She really used a lot of people, went through everyone's life, you know, and totally upset everything, and everyone all mixed up and confused with their manipulation. So, you know, I thought one of these negative forces, actually I thought it was only one negative force, but apparently there was a lot of things going on. I was surrounded by a lot of dark forces. There was a lot of things going on. There are a lot of rock stars like Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Darby Crash, the announcer of New Wave Theater, Now recently, Mitch Mitchell finally got his Jimi Hendrix money after over 40 years, and he had to go to England and get it. And he didn't even get to enjoy it for very long. Apparently an overdose. Everybody knows I don't use drugs, and that I don't use alcohol. You know, that was the thing about what I heard about Jim Morrison. He hated heroin. He would never have used heroin. So we're talking about an organization of people who eliminate the specific individual for specific purposes and reasons. A lot of times because they're moving into another direction that is not commercial, or is not commercial as it has been. They remove the individual and they continue on making a lot of money on a large commercial scale. So that's what we're talking about. I'm doing an art show. I'm probably going to be staying away from the art shows and the clubs. I'm going to be seeking more professional atmospheres. This is going to be with the Los Angeles Arts Museums. And so we have the art show. I'm registered. I pay for it. It costs money. It's not free. You know, they do have membership, which support the organizations. These are for upcoming emerging artists as well as established artists. I'm kind of hoping that my artwork can speak for itself to end up on Forbes magazine somewhere. You know, with me still in the picture. You know, not just a picture and some videos and RIP. You know, I don't know what they're thinking. I don't even think I had that much designs, you know, to go about on a large commercial scale. You know exactly what it was, but that manifested and took place, and I'm really sorry about that. I have suspicions, and I know about specific individuals and things. So I just hope that doesn't manifest again. All I have to do is just keep a distance. You know, and I'm pretty good at that. I was told I'm pretty good at dodging the bullets. I was told I'm pretty good about taking birth and getting away from the Buddhist monks to enjoy and check it out, fulfill a specific function. We're all the sons and daughters of God. We all come in the name of Christ. How can someone actually really say that they're specifically a specific individual, especially like that? If this was a common phenomenon or a common manifestation that someone flips out and they think they're Jesus. You know, Ram Dass was talking about his brother. His brother's always in trouble with the law. He's always in prison. He's going, look at you. You walk around in robes. And you're free. Me, I'm Jesus. And I'm just a regular Joe Blow. And I'm in prison. What's wrong with this picture? I guess there was the MASH episode on television, and it was loosely based on a true story, true episode. I guess someone took some drugs, or they were involved in a traumatic experience, some battle or war, and flipped out. And he was going around blessing everyone that he's Jesus Christ. So he went to the hospital. They really convinced him that he really is convinced that he's Jesus, and they weren't bringing him out of it. And he was going and blessing everyone. He was the nicest, peaceful person you ever met in your life. Total change from total barbarian, militia, military trained personnel. You know, or really into, you know, I don't know if you're in the Navy, you know, really into, your goal would be, you know, females and female anatomy, and that's the first thing and the best thing you could probably get as soon as you're on liberty and you're out of here, and that's your picture, that's your goal, that's your carrot hanging over your, the carrot hanging on the string. One more step, and it's like one more battle, one more day, one more year, one more this, one more that, one more city, one more town. And you know, and it's female genitalia that you're focused on, that's right there in front of you. And they were doing that right from the get-go in boot camp. And the persons who expressed these things, you know, especially as enthusiastic as they could, were the ones that were specifically rewarded. So now you're talking about someone on a complete 100% idiot change. Someone who is respecting everyone on a spiritual basis, a spiritual level, blessing everyone, forgiving everyone. Be very forgiving. The thing about the offenses and about the different karmic reactions to negative actions and things like that, it's just so hellish that you don't wish that on anyone. I wish a lake of fire was true. I'm quite sure there may be a lake of fire somewhere, but it's not an eternal damnation of a lake of fire. That would have been easy, but it's not true. There's a lot more to it than that. Maybe I just go ahead and... Oh yeah, so anyways, the caterpillar's changing from one leaf to the next. It's just as if one is changing from their body in this lifetime, and we're creating our futures. Just like the caterpillar is emerging onto the new leaf gradually. We're creating our futures and we're creating our next bodies gradually. And at this specific stage of life where I'm no longer thinking about who I'm going to be married to, where I'm going to be working, where I'm going to be living. That's already been done in the last 25 years. Your first 25 years in youthhood, your next 25 years in the family life. At the age of 50, the man and the woman, they retire family life and they'll travel to the holy places together. It's called Vanaprast. So in this specific stage of life, from 50 to 75, one specifically travels and meditates and focuses on spiritual life with his partner. And then from 75 on, the man and the woman, they'll become separated. The man will take a sannyas. This is actually considered the greatest act of love. A woman would be maintained and taken care of by her oldest sons or her family as a widow. And the man will travel to preach God consciousness as a swami, as sannyasi. And then enter, at the expiration of their lives, they'll go to the highest spiritual planet, from which once returning, one never again returns to this miserable planet of birth and death. So that's where we're talking about my ear. I had this stuff in my ear, suffering. Adi, Atmika Klesha, sufferings of the body, sufferings of the mind. I have this dry skin stuff, it's driving me crazy. I oil up. Sometimes I really don't feel like being oiled up, and wrapped up, put on my thermals and stuff. Sometimes I just don't feel like getting that stuff on there. I don't feel like having it on there. I got some lotion, and it just seems to soak up the lotion, and more lotion, and more lotion, and it's dry skin. And tortured on the outside, tortured on the inside. Adhyatmika kleshas, adhibhotika klesha, miseries inflicted by other living entities, such as envious persons, insects, animals, snake bites. Adidaivika kleshas, the natural catastrophes, earthquakes, famines, floods, financial depression, what would you call that? Economic collapse, natural calamities, floods, droughts. These are caused by the demigods. That's why we worship the Supreme, or why demigod worship is recommended in the Vedantas, because one who takes these gifts from the demigods are thieves. And the demigods, they're not obliged to continue to supply these items, these natural resources, without receiving their proper share of sacrifice of the worship. So that's why we have depletion of these items, of these natural resources. Is that the Supreme and the demigods are not being properly pleased or satisfied, or they're not receiving their share. Same thing about the Pitra Lokas and the mantras during the Pitra Lokas, during the Pitra seasons. To give your forefathers the gifts that they received. And those who have never offered any sacrifices, never offered any mantras or prayers to the forefathers, they're bereft of all and any good fortune. And, it's a bad situation. It's a really bad situation. Modern society doesn't even know about these things. They don't engage in these practices. Their forefathers are suffering. They're not receiving their gifts of the fair share. So they cause us problems. That's why I was very pleased to believe about this dream. And perhaps that was actually my mother in the heavenly planets. So I'm really very happy and pleased about that. So yeah, that's the whole idea about learning the lessons from the nature, the different animals in nature are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, and learn the lessons from them. So the caterpillar has been changing from one leaf to the next leaf on a gradual basis. You know, all the different bodies through the process of reincarnation. It's like this big, giant, long train that's moving through time. Each car is a different body within 8,400,000 species of life, a gradual evolution to the human form of life. And in the human form of life, we have an accumulated intelligence to understand what is the supreme. It's called the Brahma Gyanasa. It's the first aphorism in the Vedanta Sutra. Ato Brahma Gyanasa. Gyanasa, knowledge. Now in the human form of life, with the acquired form of knowledge of intelligence, is now the time to inquire into what is Brahman, what is the supreme. And the very next verse of Vedanta Sutra is the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, is that everything that exists emanates or originates from the Supreme. Ato Brahma Gyanasa, then Yata Sho. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yato. You know, so it's the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam picks up right at the second aphorism of Vedanta Sutra. The first chapters are picking right up from the Mahabharata after Krishna leaves the planet, how Arjuna, who fought the ferocious battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna was his charioteer and his best friend. Yudhisthira is on the throne. There's the prayers of Queen Kunti, who prayed to Krishna that Krishna kept them safe from harm and danger through all their perils. And it explains the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's the fish, Matsya incarnation, who saved the Vedanta at the time of universal dissolution upon the waters of the Garbhatak Ocean. May Lord Matsya protect us in the water. Lord Kurma, the tortoise incarnation, who the devas, the demigods, and the demons churn the great ocean of milk and nectar. So may Lord Kurma protect us from falling into hellish conditions. Lord Nrsingadev, half man, half lion, protected his devotee Prahlad Maharaj from his demoniac father Hiranyakashipu. Protect us from all directions. That Lord Vamanadev, he conquered the entire universe in 2 steps of land and was rewarded 3 steps as a dwarf Brahmana, who was awarded his 3rd step upon the surrender of the head of Bali Maharaj. Protect us in the air, on the land. May Lord Parashurama, who had killed the demoniac Kshetra kings 21 generations, protect us on tops of high mountains. And may Lord Varaha, the form of Lord Boar, who killed the brother of Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, who mined the ocean of its precious minerals and had fallen into the darkest regions of the universe, the Garbhatak waters. Protect us from the rogues on the street. And then there's the form of Vishnu, who has 8 arms, holding respectfully the weapons of conch shell, Sudarshan chakra, bow, arrow, sword and shield, lotus flower and rope. Protect us from witchcraft, envious snakes, envious persons, demoniac spells, ghosts of all kinds, yakshas, rakshas, and brahmana yakshas with fearful eyes. So Srimad Bhagavatam explains these things in the specific incarnations of the personality of Godhead, especially the 10th canto. That's why Srila Prabhupada presented the Krishna book because it would be many, many, many years before he got to the 10th canto in his translation, Srimad Bhagavatam, which was absolutely glorious. And we're talking about chanting Hare Krishna, we're talking about worshiping Krishna, but who's Krishna? We have no positive engagement, no positive information as to who is Krishna. So Prabhupada presented the Krishna books, and they came in time. He had an advanced copy. It was a Rath Yatra festival, and Prabhupada was presenting the books in his lecture and his speech, and actually sold his own personal advanced copies. So, coffee and breakfast with Raj. Yeah. Good day to start the day. Well, I just have to go Roger now. Actually, I've been ending these things with a joke, so one more thing with a joke. I hope nobody finds this in bad taste. Or sacrilege. There's a few jokes. A guy dies and he goes to hell. And the demons are telling him he can have any one of these hells he likes, and he's taken through all these things, so they're just all so horrible and gruesome, and no one would ever voluntarily accept anything like that. All these different things. You know, I don't get into graphics things, I don't know. But it's gruesome stuff. That means you've got flesh burned and torn and stretched and horrible things. And so he gets to this wine hall. They're all standing in a pool of stools, and up to their waist, and they're drinking a cup of coffee. I'll tell you, in hell, something like that would probably be heaven. He's thinking, of all the stuff that you show me, all the weird stuff, this is weird, but this has got to be the best thing I've ever seen here. Yeah, the best thing in my hellish life. Yeah. He goes, I could live with that. It's not a pretty sight. It's probably not healthy, but what the heck, I'm already dead. I'll take this one. So he gets in, they hand him his cup of coffee. Here's your coffee. Yeah. And after a very short while, I don't even think he was even able to even enjoy the whole cup of coffee. The head demon of the hell comes in and says, okay, coffee break's over, back on your heads. Okay, well, that's probably why they call me cornball. Cornball. Okay, we'll talk to you later. Okay.